Dover Detainee Visitor Group really started on an ad hoc basis. It was a group of people who felt very strongly about the situation of people in the Immigration Removal Centre, wanted to do something about it.
Dover Detainee Visitor Group is a non-political charity and is set up to help immigration detainees and their families.
It's a very, I think it's an organization that is doing a very, very interesting job because it's dealing not only with the detainees, which is the most important thing, but also is working with volunteers and also with the community.
My name is Lazarus Banda. I come from Zimbabwe and I fled persecution. I was tortured in Zimbabwe, so I came to the United Kingdom. But basically, when I came here, I did not seek for asylum because I did not know the procedures, and I was arrested in March 2004, and I went to Hammondsworth Detention Center, where I spent about 5 months there. Then it happened that there was a riot which happened at Hammondsworth Detention Center, and I was transferred to Dover Immigration Removal Center in July 2004.
The detention centre is it's an ex-Young Offenders Institute. So, as I say, it's like a prison, and it's holding people who are in the process of claiming asylum. But it also contains overstayers that they're waiting to send back. So they're being held there while their case is being looked at by immigration. So you'll meet people from all over the world who are waiting to hear the result of their appeal or the result of their claim for asylum.
I'm Miriam Wood. I'm a former teacher, and when I stopped teaching full-time, I found that I was more and more concerned about the asylum issue because it seemed to me that there was a lot of hostility towards asylum seekers, and for very poor reasons, and it didn't seem to me that the government was doing very much about that. And about 2 years ago, I saw a stall which was set up for the Dover Visitors Group, and I thought this was something that I could do that was positive. It might be a small amount, but it was a little bit that an individual could do. It was from a friend that I met at a concert, and we said, "What are you doing?" And she told me she was doing this, and I thought I would like to become involved because I was a refugee myself after the fall of Singapore in 1942. It's an experience you obviously never forget, and I had felt for some time that I would like to become involved in trying to help refugees and asylum seekers in this country.
I volunteered for it because I took early retirement, and I'd already been working in an environment which was similar. So I thought I didn't want to give up what I was doing, but I didn't need to work anymore, so I was looking for something that I thought was meaningful for voluntary work.
I applied to join, and I was given some information, and then really the most important thing for me was that I had immediately initial training where we were told what to expect, particularly about what to expect from ourselves and our reactions.
People which they want to volunteer with us, they have to get in contact with me, and then we make arrangements to meet, and from there I give an induction, in-house induction, and we do training, regular trainings. And the trainings which we provide is from Association of Visitors to Immigration Detainees, legal training provided by Refugee Legal Center, and we provided training from human rights as well, organized by British Institute of Human Rights.
Fundamentally, it's to befriend them. and to provide them with that link to the outside world. Because if they've got familial links, it's not so bad, but if they haven't, if they don't know anybody here, it helps to preserve their sanity sometimes if they just know one person that's on the outside.
We would hope that people are able to visit once a week. If they're not able to maintain that, then as long as they let the detainee know and say, right, I should only be coming in to visit you once every other week, then at least the person is not disappointed. Their hopes are not built up unduly, because their hopes will be forever rising and falling as their case goes through the system. There's always a chance perhaps they might be granted bail and then that's dashed and whatever. So we don't want to add to their burden by promising something and then not fulfilling it.
And also to try and ease the pain of detention by providing them with phone cards or CDs or CD players.
My very first visit to the removal centre, we'd been told about what it was like going in through those gates, but you're not prepared for it until you get in there. You feel as if your freedom's taken away. There's great high walls, there's a moat, and then there's very high wire fencing inside as well. And you have to provide identification, who you are. You have to be prepared to be searched, to take nothing in, the usual things that you take around with you, your mobile phone you have to leave behind. And you go in, and the thing is that we can come back out again, but they can't. And every time I've gone up there, I've had that same thought. I go in there and I don't like it, but in an hour I come back out, and the detainee I visit can't.
The first time was very daunting because it's exactly like a prison, and you have to go through several doors and you have to be patted down, searched, or if it's a man they do a frisk, and the officialdom is a bit strange at first, but once you get in there it feels more normal, if you like, but it's still upsetting when you see people come out. They wear these tabards, and it's quite upsetting when you see their faces. I remember the first time I visited, and to see his face, he was only a young boy, and to see him so depressed was very sad, and he trusted me straight away and launched into the story, and I found that very touching because he was desperate to talk to somebody, absolutely desperate to talk to somebody that wasn't part of the officialdom.
My first experience, well, I must be honest with you, I've worked for 7 years up in the same centre, so it wasn't scary for me, and I was incredibly lucky because I knew a lot of the staff there.
I think, yes, just being able to talk about themselves, that somebody shows an interest in them as an individual, because as a refugee, you are in a sense, you have a feeling of not being particularly wanted in this country, and just to have somebody in the country who shows an interest, I think, must be valuable.
It's very helpful to have a visitor who gets to see you maybe once a week, whenever it is possible, where a visitor can come and see you and support you in a way, by giving you a phone card so that you are able to speak to your family and your solicitor as well. So it does help, because there is no any other way you can get such help.
99% more or less assured that indeed they have felt the change in the mood and in the, the state of mind of the detainees.
They cheer you up, and from there now you have another feeling, and it uplifts your spirits as well.
Certainly, paid or otherwise, it's the best job I've ever done, and I think, although, as I say, it can be very sad and it can make it be very depressing, you can help by a little bit of effort you can help people a lot. And for a small commitment of 2 hours a week, I think a lot of people will make some lovely rich friendships and find out about other cultures, which is absolutely fascinating, and broaden. You know, I certainly find that my horizons have really been broadened from visiting.
Why they should volunteer as well, obviously, is because there is a clear need. People who are locked up in the Immigration Removal Centre, it provides a human contact for somebody who is totally outside the immigration prison service system. There's that little, if you like, little chink of light coming through an unshuttered window.
So I would say to anybody who was thinking about it that they've got nothing to lose and an awful lot to gain. It's made me feel quite humble in lots of ways because I have learnt about my different detainees, and I saw a different side to the news, for instance, where you hear all negative things about asylum seekers, economic detainees coming in, and I actually learnt completely a different side to what a detainee is.
It's one of the few things that I can say that I've done in my life that I'm absolutely sure has made a difference to somebody else, and I'm speaking as a teacher.